People of Reddit, has someone ever challenged you to something you are an expert at without them knowing? If so, how did it turn out? I got challenged to a tennis match by a housemate during dinner. He thought that because I was fat he would beat me easily. After some deliberately condescending comments from me, he got agitated and we settled on a bet. Loser runs home naked about 2 miles through the city. I was indeed fatter than him. My freshman 15 had become a 30. I also had 12 years of competitive tennis under my belt. Nothing spectacular in terms of talent. I had just liked the game a lot, but certainly enough skill to send his skinny ass walking. I almost died laughing after the first game already because he was terrible at tennis. WTF was he thinking? My nephews thought they could bring Smash into my house? Oh, you picked Fox? Uncle Manowork, and you must have never played this before, have you? Ha ha ha, he's not very good. They don't want to play video games with me, Uncle Manowork, anymore after not being allowed to touch the ground. One of my nephews scoffed at me for not knowing the new Pokémon, this was back in XY days, and challenged me to a Pokémon battle. I brought out a team with Cliffy, and Toxic spiked his butt into the next day. I kept on rotating out my semi-competitive Pokémon and he couldn't get a full win with his full legendary team. And that's all she wrote. He now thinks that I'm the Pokémon master of the family, but I haven't played Let's Go Eevee/Pikachu and I don't plan on buying Sword/Shield. School. I was a weather forecaster in the Air Force, and even though I had completed all the official training and received an S degree, I didn't have a BS and wanted one. So I enrolled in a university program in atmospheric science and meteorology. They were willing to transfer all of my credits from CAF and stuff I had prior to enlisting in courses I took on base, but I had to have at least 10 hours from the ASM department for the degree. So I am in my lab class doing a streamline analysis on the exact chart region I have been doing twice a day, 15 times a month for almost 4 years. For most people in the class, it was their first time doing one. It was a 3-hour lab, everyone had 2 hours to do the chart, but I knocked mine out in about 20 minutes. It was my day off, so I didn't feel like hanging around. I turned it in and asked if there was anything else, because if not, I wanted to leave early. So this grad student teaching the class who's never actually worked in the field, starts throwing me attitude and saying I should go back and look at my chart again and take my time with it instead of being in a rush to go skulk around the student union or something. I said whatever or something like that and went back to my light table and started gathering my stuff to leave. So he calls me out in front of the class and decides everyone should stop so they can see what happens when someone rushes through their work, and how many mistakes that kind of thing leads to. So he starts nitpicking the little shit no one actually cares about outside of the classroom, like not having totally uniform spacing, style of neutral points, or how I drew in my troughs and things like that. Stuff that was more style than actual substance. Then he dings me for buffer zone not on the master chart used for grading. I said whoever did the original screwed up because the data says there's a buffer zone where I had it. So he looks at the chart, an old DoD chart which were made available to any college that would request them so long as they were 2 years old and declassified, and he points at the name in the corner date stamp block of it next to analyst and says, "So you think you know better than SRA, SR.A, underscore does?" And I started laughing and said, "Yeah I do, because SR.A underscore is me, and I'm now Staff Sergeant underscore and I know a hell of a lot more now than I did 3 years ago when I put that thing together." The class was amused, he wasn't. TLDR, the department chair let me complete a package of lab work independently and turn it in. He said after further thought, he decided it was a little ridiculous I was taking class from someone I should actually be teaching. Speed ice skating. There was this really douchey guy in our group of friends who felt the need to show me up one night when a bunch of us were skating. I had played hockey growing up, unbeknownst to him, so I agreed to his challenge to race. After I lapped him a few times, he just started laughing at himself, realizing how cocky he had been. Turns out he was actually a really kind and caring guy, just so socially inept that it came across as rude. We became pretty good friends, and I remember during a really bad flu I missed a few events and he was the only one who thought to call me up and see how I was doing. He got married recently and I couldn't be happier for him. I remember once in high school, there was an assembly in front of the entire school. Can't remember the exact topic, but at one point the teacher pulls up a slide showing the village in Wales with a 58-letter name, Llanfairpwllgwyngygodrich we earn drog Lantasiliagagagok. Then he points straight at me and says, "Can you say that?" Obviously thinking whoever he points at is not gonna be able to do it. Little did he know that my dad had been able to say it as one of his party tricks, and had been teaching me for years. Yes. I enjoyed that day. Years ago I was at a beach with a couple of my friends. We were all teenagers at the time, no older than 16 if I remember correctly. There was a group of older guys, probs in their mid to late 20s, sitting next to us, playing music, having some beers, and overall just being loud and kind of obnoxious. They started arguing about how far a nearby island, that was visible from the beach, was, and whom of them would be the fastest to swim there. One of the guys said he's by far the fastest swimmer on the entire beach and loudly yelled that he challenges anyone to a race to the island, winner gets €100 and he was looking at making an easy buck. No one on the beach really paid attention, but since we were sitting right next to them, I said I'll race him for a 100. The whole group of guys burst out laughing with tears in their eyes, and the challenger guy said he didn't mean children when he said anyone. He looked me up and down and held his laugh, but eventually said okay, it'll be easy money for me so why not, or something within those lines. Little did he know, however, that I was swimming in my country's juniors national team, and was training for London 2012 Olympics at the time. So it's safe to say I was a superb swimmer and fast as hell in the water. So we raced to the island and I obviously beat him by several minutes, yes, minutes. Easiest €100 I've probably ever made, and the satisfaction of returning to the beach after the race when all the guy's friends were mocking him for losing to a teenager girl was priceless. When Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon came out I bought Sun, my niece bought Moon. I am 32 and have played since I was a little guy, she was a first-time player. After a couple months of playing she cockily challenges me to a battle, like constant trash talk. I destroyed her. Like not even close to being close. As the battle ends I look up in triumph and she is crying. Like shaking crying. She throws her DS down and runs off to her room. I felt like the biggest asshole in the world. Edit, to answer some questions. She was 10 at the time. She is a very quiet and polite kid. The tantrum was very out of character and was more a build-up from crap at school. After she calmed down I showed her how I organized my training info using Excel. She is very close to beating me now. Battles are not a for sure win anymore. Edit, thank you for the gold. Very unexpected. Not a challenge, but when I was in 5th grade, I was the fastest kid in school. Our school went from K-8 and every year we had our own track meet and the kids who placed in the top 3 in each category would represent the school in the county-wide track meet. 5th-8th grade competed against each other at our school. I won every single race by quite a stretch. I have always been fast and have been challenged to race and won every single time. When I went to the county-wide meet, I was pretty brash and even my classmates were talking trash to the other schools. I came in 4th in the 100 years dash, 5th in the 50-yard dash. I learned that day not to be cocky and that I actually needed to train and not rely on talent alone. As an infantry marine, especially in weapons platoon, you get really good at spades. And I mean, really good. I left the Marine Corps and worked very briefly at a jail where I met another Marine, even better, a mortarman. We never discussed spades, nor played together at any time. 2 of the old deputies wanted to play one night and said they were the best and no one could beat them. Since most people have never played spades, nor have a lot of people heard of it, they were surprised when me and the other former Marine knew how to play. We went over the rules to make sure the different play styles were addressed and then one person decided to bet us. They lost at an overwhelming pace. Where it started to feel bad on how fast and easily we were winning. We didn't even speak to each other, but read each other's mind while playing. Man, do I miss playing spades with a bunch of war-fighting devil dogs every day. I play rugby in a club. Not really a pro, but I can pull out a few moves and I definitely know how to tackle someone. A friend of mine challenged me to make him fall on the ground, so I did a cathedral. I don't know if it's the right word in English. Basically it's when you do a tackle, but instead of taking him down to the ground the fastest way possible, you lift him first to make him recoil a bit before putting him on the ground. To him, and he never asked me again. Sorry for English, I'm French. Sort of. About a year before going to college, a buddy and I decided to break out the Super Nintendo and revisit some of the classics. One game we got super tied up in due to its difficulty was Super Punch-Out! By the end, I had mastered it to the point that I could run through the entire game, 16 opponents in 4 circuits, barely getting knocked down, let alone needing to use a continue. Flash forward to about the 3rd week of dorm life in college. I went to go ask a buddy something in the room next door. I walked in and he was on his computer playing Super Punch-Out! I hadn't played in a year and he was frustrated not being able to beat the first character of the special circuit. For those that have played, it was Narcissus Prince, 13 of 16. I had never played it on a computer, so I only said I had beaten the game about a year ago. I remembered everything. I sat down and destroyed Narcissus Prince. Barely even got hit. He was in total shock. So impressed that he just watched me run through the final 3 matchups as well. It's something he brought up from time to time for the next 4 years. This didn't happen to me, but my best friend. My best friend is in our school's swimming team since she was about 9, we're 16 now, and is the fastest female swimmer in our school. That one week, she didn't attend swim practice because she was sick. And it just had to be that week that tons of new members joined. The next week when she finally attended practice, all the newbies, there were about 10 of them started acting all cocky as if they were so amazing at swimming. It went a little like this. "Oh, I didn't see you last week, you must be new here." Actually I'm not. I've been in the swim team since I was 9. Well, that doesn't matter. Let me show you the ropes. I'm pretty fast myself. They completely ignored her statement and kept going on and on about how slow my friend probably is. Later, the coach told them to race as a warm-up, to the other side and back. As soon as coach blew the whistle, my friend, who obviously felt challenged, swam very fast, and by the time she was done with the race, the newbies were just about to swim back from the other side. They don't dare make fun of her now, and some even try to suck up to her, which she ignores. Smile.